Hello everyone and welcome to a French SUV that is one of the nice looking ones in its segment. It's practical, it's spacious, and it's now loaded with a lot of features in this current generation, which is this new Renault Koleos. So in today's video we're going to be finding out everything in detail about this car. Now this new generation of Koleos is offered in three different variants, which is the PE, SE and the LE. The P being the base variant, SE being the mid, and the LE being the top variant. And the one that I'm reviewing is the Koleos LE version, which is the top of the line, and there are some extra optionals apart from the top trim that I'm gonna come across, and I'm gonna let you know what all things we have on this particular model. But the first one that I want to start off is with this color, which is the standard one, but this wine red looks absolutely amazing, especially in a daylight. Right now it just pops so well, the metal flakes and everything. Love this color on this thing. Let me begin with the front. So you get this chrome grille out here, a bit curvy and really nicely merged into the front bumper, continues from one end to the other. The chrome strip at the bottom, this Renault badging in the middle, and then there are also chrome strips that continue inside the headlights. Also at the bottom there is another chrome strip like a surround around on both the sides, and then continues from one end to the other. But there's just normal plastic trim, but no fog lights or anything that has been given out here. Normal plastic and then gray color plastic at the bottom of it. When you come to these headlights, you get these scorpion shaped headlights out here, and the DRLs are the C-shaped ones that are given on the edge, and the turning lights are given at the bottom out here on either side. And then in terms of the headlight cluster, you get a full set of LED headlight cluster on this new Koleos, and there is also some designs inside the headlight cluster also. So the overall look and appearance of this car is so well. I really like the design of the new Koleos, which is why I said it's one of the best looking SUVs in its segment. So this new Renault Koleos is based on the new Nissan X-Trail, and there are lots of bits that are shared across between the two cars. So the chassis, the drivetrain and everything, all of that is basically common. And out here on the side you would find 19-inch dual tone alloy rims on this Koleos, which are the optional extras that have been put on this car. Otherwise you get 18-inch ones, and the base variant, which is the PE, gets the 17-inch ones. And this car is no short of chrome, by the way. Like, look at this, there's one more strip that continues on the side fender and then curves around out here. There's also more chrome surround around these windows, door handles. Even at the bottom on the skirtings you would find a chrome strip. So lots even in the back as we come across. There is a lot of chrome, but for once it looks actually decent on this car. I don't know, maybe it's the color combination with which it goes very well. And you also get these plastic arches on the fenders so that it protects your actual colored fenders. Even in the back you have the same arches. Spoiler, as I mentioned, when you come to these side mirrors, these are body colored side mirrors. They are power foldable, they are power adjustable. They also have the blind spot warning inside them. There is also a turn signal that has been provided. And in the front you would find keyless entry doors, and they are smart keyless entry doors. So if you have the keys in your pocket and you walk away, they have the smart feature where it would lock the car automatically for you. And also if you come closer to the car, you will have the car unlocked for you. There's also Koleos badging on the door sills. There is also silver color roof rails. We have the rear seats on this side, and there are no third row of seats as compared to the X-Trail. And the benefit of that is that you get a lot of interior space on this new Koleos. Now in the rear on this LE variant you get full set of LED tail light cluster. The turn signals, reverse lights, everything is completely LED, whereas on the base variant, which is the PE, you get a combination of LED and halogen tail light cluster. And even these tail lights out here are in the C shape, but instead the bumper in the back is curved into C shape so that it matches with the tail lights. Very well done. And one thing that really sort of annoys me, I would say, is this Renault badging, because it slightly Yeah, if you see, it's not straight and it's just going upwards with an angle. Like if you, I don't know, it's probably been removed at some point of time and then not put properly. Could be that. There's Koleo badging out here, Renault badging in here, then the 4-wheel drive and the dealer badging in there. In terms of the visibility, it's actually bit restricted, I would say, because there's much of an upper level visibility, and that is to do with the fact that look at where the rear glass sits. It's quite high up, and then you get a lot of body continuing after that, so which is why there is, yeah, a bit of restriction, but it's still quite open that way when you look at it. So that way it's not going to be an issue. Far away visibility, and at the bottom out here you would have more chrome from one end to the other that houses your fake exhaust tips. It's actually not even tips, it's just plastic covering that. The actual exhaust tip is below that one. Again, very curvy bumper in the back too. Now when you come to the boot space, in order to open the boot door, either with your key fob you can open, or there's a button given out here. Now when the rear seats are folded up, you can put up to 600 liters of luggage in the back. 600, that is just absolutely amazing, and that is to do with the fact that, as I said, this is no third row that has been included, but instead they've removed that and just give you more space. And yeah, it's very even, it's just very, yeah, spacious in that sense. There are also tying points and everything that are given. There's also a boot separator, but I've removed it and kept it down. There's a space for that also, consumes a bit, but it's all right. There are also big scuff plates out here, wide ones, so that you don't damage your bumper. And the bottom of the boot floor sits a temporary spare wheel. Yeah, just imagine me lifting it up. So yeah, it's at the bottom along with the toolkit and everything. Now the rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 60:40. There are also levers given in the back for the convenience, so you just pull them and these seats would fold down very easy. And yeah, that's one of the best features out here, so you don't have to go in the front to fold down those seats. And then once you fold them down, you can put nearly 2000 liters of luggage in the back. The arches don't intrude your boot space, so you can pretty much put longer, taller objects, how much ever you want to fill this car up with. There's just a bit of a slope, that's the only thing. There are also boot lights that are given on either side, but yes, overall very good, practicality and space that this car comes with. And in order to close the door, you have to press that button, and it's such a quiet operation on this Koleos. Now on the inside of this new Koleos, you would find that there are a few more changes that have happened on the interior side. Also, there has been upgrade of the infotainment system, and also the material quality, yes, that also has been improved, but it's still a mixed bag of plastic materials and leather and everywhere. And wherever you're going to be interacting, that's where everything is pretty much leather and soft touch material. So let me begin with the dashboard. You get a soft touch material on the dashboard. It's still slightly on the harder side. There is a bit of stitching also on the top, but yes, it's sort of, yeah, soft that way. Even the door cards, yeah, they have the soft touch material on the top where you're going to be resting hands. That's leather covered with the red color stitching on the side, the maroon red stitching, and there is also this plastic trim that resembles like the wood, but yeah, that's plastic. Even on the dashboard it has been given. At the bottom it's normal plastic where the glove box door is. There are these two grab handles out here, but they are covered in leather covered soft material. Out here, glossy black plastic that has been given, and then where you're resting hands, again, that is also leather covered. The steering wheel is leather covered. So yeah, everywhere there is a mix and match. Even these seats are Napa leather seats, and there are also mood lights that are given out here underneath the air conditioning controls, in the door cards and everywhere. And then those lights can be changed from inside the infotainment screen. But overall, yes, the material quality is somewhat a mixture of normal plastic, which is between this out here at the bottom and everywhere. But the thing is, this car comes with a lot of features, and those features are distributed all over on the car. So let me show you some of the examples. Now there is a button to switch from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive and auto, and that button is given on the left side, like way below your vision. I was actually wondering where the button was, maybe in the screen or somewhere here, but it's tucked in on the left side, and then you press it and then you can put the car into auto, 4-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive lock. So those buttons are here. Then you have the hill descent control button, traction control button, your button to open the boot door. All of those buttons are given out here on this side. And not just that, there's also the speed limiter and cruise control button that has been given out here. So in order to activate it, then you press the button from here, and then it activates the cruise control for you, and then you can change the or set the speed basically from the buttons that are given on the steering wheel on the left side. Then there are like air conditioning controls, which are split between to change temperatures. There are dials. Then for ventilated and heated seat options that are given on this thing, there are buttons. But to change the fan speed, again you have to go into the infotainment screen. So it's like a split, between the different options when you want to even use the aircon. So you still have to use the infotainment screen. And then there are these 4 cup holders, not just 2, 4 cup holders in the center tunnel. That's also cooled ones. So there's this button that has been given, you slide it and then you can switch on the cooling feature. So yeah, those are the quirky bits that are still there on the Koleos. When it comes to the driver's display, you get a 7-inch TFT display in the middle, and then there are dials on either side. So those dials are the fixed ones. On the left side there's temperature gauge, on the right side there is fuel gauge, and in the middle you can see all your information. So the big dial that you see in the middle shows you your speed, which is the digital form in the analog way, and even those can be customized from inside this infotainment screen. So when I press the button, which is given on the right side on the infotainment screen, you go to instrument panel, and then there is the styling option. You go to style 1, then it shows you RPM counter. Style 2 again shows you RPM counter with some changes in the design, and then there is the eco meter, it shows you in the style 3, and style 4 just shows you your digital speed in the analog way. And you can change more information at the bottom also of that dial that has been given, and the information to change that is given on your right side, the buttons and everything on the steering wheel. So you go down, you see your average fuel consumption, then your trip information, your service, then your tire pressure, your average that you're doing right now, then the distance that you've covered and your range, and then the current fuel consumption, and then you're back to the average fuel consumption. So that's how you see the information at the bottom of that. There is also more information that you can see on top right corner. There's a button that is given on the right side, again on the steering wheel on the top. So you press that and you can see your navigation, then the media, and then there is the compass. Then there is the 4-wheel drive distribution of the power, where the power is going into. Then you can leave it blank if you don't want to see anything. So yeah, that's the information that you can change from here. Also you can even change the color themes and everything from the infotainment screen. I'm going to come to that when I come across into that feature. Also mood lights can be changed from there too. So let me actually just show you. So you go, I believe, into the menu option, and then you have the vehicle settings. Yes, then there is the ambient light option, where you will find 5 different color combinations, which is the green, red, blue, purple and the golden one. So this color basically synchronizes with everything inside the car, with your mood lights and also the driver's display, and also on your screen all the options. So that's how you change the color combinations or the themes on this Koleos through the infotainment screen. Now when you come to the steering wheel, this is a leather covered steering wheel, which is a round one, and it's decently sized, also with good thumb support that has been given. No paddle shifters or anything, because anyways this comes with a CVT transmission. And then this steering wheel is manually adjustable, which is your tilt and telescopic, so you can lock it in place in the right position. And on the right side you would find the controls to change all the driver's information display that you see on your screen, and also the voice control and also the phone controls if you want to answer the phone, and all of that. The buttons are given out here. And on the left side there are buttons given to set the speed limiter or the cruise control speed. So you get standard cruise control system on this Koleos, and as I said, you can switch it on and off from here on the center console. The button has been given for that. Again, it took me a little bit of a while to figure that out. And in order to change any of the media controls, there is a stick that is given on the right side behind the steering wheel. It's most of the times not visible, so you have to memorize, and it's just that, yeah, it's easier to operate somehow, because once you memorize, it's very easy. It's behind like a stick. So the volume buttons are given at the back, and then the mute button, and then the mode and the source button all given out here. So that's your stick to change all the media controls. Now when you come to the air conditioning controls, as I said, it's split between buttons and the screen operated feature, but the button operated features are straightforward. So there are buttons which are given in the middle for your auto, recirculation of air and everything, and then dials given on either side to change the temperature. And at the bottom, as I said, you get the buttons for your ventilated, heated and the cooled seat options that are given on either side for the driver and the passenger. And in order to change the fan speed, you go inside the menu. So you see the temperature and everything at the bottom, the information, you press that, and then you are led into the system inside, where you can change the flow of air, direction of air, AC on and off, your dual zone air conditioning system that you get on this Koleos, and then the fan speed, and at the bottom on and off, and then plus and minus to increase the fan speed and everything. But yes, that's how you operate. I don't know, maybe they could have just replaced these buttons into the fan controls and then put these buttons inside, because the fan speed is more likely to be used often than these buttons, whichever that are given. But yeah, again, you have to get a bit used to operating this screen also. But again, if you know how to use it, then you're okay after that. Now there are buttons given even at the bottom for the eco mode and also the parking assist that you get on this Koleo. You only get one single driving mode, like two, so normal mode and the eco mode. Now when you come to the infotainment screen, you get an 8.7-inch TFT touchscreen display, but it's a TFT. And what I find is that on a day like today, especially if your sunroof is open and just the glass is still on, but there's a lot of glare and everything on the screen, and yeah, it's not the very crisp experience that you will find on some other rivals in the same segment that ways. But the operation itself is quite all right. It's very straightforward, and the menu options are right there on your screen itself. So the main screen is the one with the time and date, then you have more widgets for your navigation, the media, then you swipe your driving mode, and then you have a blank screen. And in terms of the response also, it's fairly all right, I would say. Now you can even change the menu options from the display that you see in front of you. So you can change the theme, or you can edit home pages. Now you can edit home pages, and let's say maybe add, what do we want to add, maybe the climate feature on this car. Then we go back, and now we'll have the climate control at the bottom. So you can add more widgets also, so it's customizable, which is a good thing. So on the move, you can just easily change whatever controls you want and you want to have access to while you are driving. So then there is a detail menu option that is given at the bottom. You press that, and then you are led into the navigation option. There is an inbuilt navigation system that you get, but I think you will be better off using with the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay anyways that you get on this Koleos. So it's still, if you still forget to connect or anything, then there are these maps that are given. It's all right. That's not the quickest, I will say, but there is an option that has been given on this thing. Then there is the multimedia option, where you have all the connectivity options. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB, and there is wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connectivity options. Then you go back, and then there is a phone option, then apps, where you can download some apps and use them on this screen. Then there is the detailed vehicle options, where you will see your ambient lights, seats, driving assistance, driving eco, onboard computer, how you're doing in terms of the fuel consumption and everything. And then you go back, then there is the general system settings, for home pages, user profile, display options. So if you want to customize that display option for the central console or the instrument panel, then you can change that. Or there is a button that is given on the right side, then the brightness, volume and language and everything, and then you come out and onto your main screen. So that's your infotainment screen. That's how you use it. Now there are buttons that are given on the right side for the power on and off, the volume buttons, which are like the touch buttons. So yeah, you have to be really precise when you're pressing them. Then there is the home button, then there is the driving assistance button that has been given, where you can switch on the blind spot warning and speed alerts and everything. So yeah, those buttons are given on the right side. That can be a bit of a stretch when you are operating. Now in terms of the air conditioning functioning, it's actually pretty good, I would say, because as I said, the bits and bobs are still essentially Nissan X-Trail. So the cooling on this is actually pretty good. Within 5 minutes, if the car is really warm, it will make it very cool, and you get the ventilated seats also. So club with that, it's an absolute joy, especially in the summers. Now in terms of charging, you will find two normal USB ports along with one 12-volt power socket that has been given underneath the air conditioning controls for the front driver and the passenger, whereas for the rear passengers there are two more standard USB ports that are given underneath the air conditioning vents. Now on this new Koleos, you will get a full panoramic sunroof, and it opens quite big, which is what I really like, especially during winter times like these. It's an absolute joy to open and let the wind come into the car. So yeah, that way it's a very useful one in that sense. Lets a lot of light also into the car. And then the sun visors are extendable, so again, summer feature, which is going to be really helpful because these doors are quite long in that way. Now in terms of the storage, in the door cards you can put about 1.5 liter worth of bottle fairly easily into this one, and some more storage on the sides. There is also this sunglass holder that has been given. There is this storage underneath the air conditioning controls where you can put your phones and wallets while they are charging. There's also this glove box. The same goes on the passenger side also. Then there are these 4 cup holders, as I mentioned, and they are just the standard one, not the flexible ones that are given in the center tunnel, which are the cooled ones also. And there is also a tray, and you cover it, and then you can maybe put something on top, which is if you're not using any cups. Then there is this slidable hand rest, and then once you open, you can put about 4 half a liter worth of bottle inside them also. So even that's a plenty of space in the center armrest also. And in the rear door cards, you can put about 1 liter worth of bottle, and that's about it. And in the center armrest, you would find 3 cup holders, standard ones that are given for the rear passengers. Now on this Koleos, you get Napa leather black color seats on this one, which are perforated, and that is because they are the heated and the cooled ones. And there is also this diamond quilting design on the top bit of it, which looks pretty cool that ways. And there are also this piping that has been given on the sides along with the red color stitching, again in wine red color. And then when you see these headrests, these are not the normal looking headrests. That is because these are the optional extras that has been provided on this LE version of this Koleos, and then they give you that extra bit of head support. And to be honest, they do actually give you a lot of support. These are like those plain headrest that you find on an aircraft, so they are not adjustable from side to side, but yes, they give you that extra amount of head support while you rest it on the side. But in terms of the comfort into these seats, again, that's also pretty good. They are very soft, and for longer journeys they are going to be very comfortable. And not just that, because the support at the bottom is also extendable on driver and the passenger side seat, so you get that extra bit of under thigh support. Also, even in the back, there's decent amount of lumbar support, and that's also adjustable, but only on the driver side, not the passenger side. But there is still decent amount of support. The side support is pretty great, and at the bottom, yeah, there is good side support from the bottom side also. And in terms of the adjustability, so the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 4-way lumbar control, and there's also a massage feature, which is again an optional extra that has been given on this Koleos LE version, and there's a straightforward button that you press from the side. Let's hope, yeah. When I press that, then there is an option on your infotainment screen. You go into the massage option, then you have the on and off feature, then you have the tonic, relaxing, and lumbar. You can set the speed, intensity, and everything. So yeah, definitely worth it. And the massage is like pretty intense that way, and not just for the sake of giving you a massage feature. So it's a purposeful and useful one that has been given, but only for the driver side, not the passenger side. And whereas the passenger side seat is 4-way electronically adjustable. Now on this Koleos, you get plenty of space in the rear thanks to not adding that third row of seats, which is why you get so much of a space in here. So you get about one full palm worth of knee room out here. And then these seats, the driver side seat is in my driving position, so it's fairly in the back. That way the seats also have a bit of extra curve, so they can provide you extra bit of knee room. Also the headroom is again decent. There's also a cutout that has been given, so someone about 6 feet will be able to easily adjust in the back too, and you sit really at a very comfortable angle into these seats. There is decent amount of support underneath my thigh, and you get the same black color Napa leather seats, which are perforated, but they are not the heated or the cool seats, just for the design purposes, but they are very, very soft that way for longer journeys. There's also the diamond quilting stitching and everything on the backrest. Also there are 3 headrests that you get, and good amount of back support on these seats also. And not just that, you can even adjust the reclining, so it's adjustable in that sense. So yeah, for longer journeys you can just recline down a little bit if you want to, so very nice that way. Then you can even slide your legs under the seats, not much, but there is still decent amount of room, so during the longer journeys again you can stretch it out. Also there is just a small bit of tunnel that has been given out here, not much, but in the middle seat, if I sit, it's a bit harder, the middle seat, and there's a bit of a bulge also in the back, so it's more of a temporary seat, I would say, not for very long cruising, that's for sure. And there is also a handrest that has been provided, and very broad handrest with the vertically mounted cup holders that are given. But what I like is you have space on either side, even if you use the cup holders in here. But if you're not, then you can fold them away and then someone can utilize this seat. There are 2 air conditioning vents that are given in the back. You can adjust just the flow of air and the direction of air and the intensity of air. That's about it. 2 more standard USB ports that are given underneath of that. In terms of the door card quality, it's soft touch materials and not plastic, unlike some other manufacturers that would give you more harder plastics in the back and only soft ones in the front. So you are treated to softer materials in the back also. Then the same wooden plastic trim, and then where you are going to be resting hands, that's leather covered with the wine red stitching. Even the same stitching is on these seats also, and the piping also that goes around. And in terms of the storage, as I said, you can put 1 liter worth of storage, some more storage on the side. The driver and the passenger side seats also have the netted storage, and pretty deep that ways and broad too. Overall, for the passengers, they're going to be seated quite comfortably in the rear. In fact, I actually like it here, just that the headrests are not the same ones that are given in the front, and those headrests are actually pretty supportive. But nonetheless, if I wanted to have a long journey comfort, you are going to be quite there in this rear of the new Koleos. So this Renault Koleos is powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine that produces 170 horsepower and 233 Newton meters of torque, and this engine is mated to an Xtronic CVT transmission that sends the power to all 4 wheels, and it's also a selectable 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or an automatic system if you want to leave it into that. So you get that as well. It's essentially, as I mentioned, Nissan underneath that, so it's a Nissan X-Trail, and which is why you get bits and bobs all from that, the essential ones basically that you want. And in terms of the response, it's fairly alright, although the lower end of the engine just struggles slightly to accelerate a little bit, but once it starts moving, it's fairly smoother after that. And I understand because it's a 2.5 liter and only 4 cylinders, so the components have to pick up the mass before they start moving around, so which is why there's a bit of a lag, but nonetheless it's all right. And the CVT transmission, again, that's also fairly smooth in terms of its operations. There's not much of a jerk or anything when you accelerate. The ride quality itself is pretty smooth on this thing. And in terms of the efficiency, so from the CVT transmission and this 2.5 liter engine, you will get anywhere on a longer journeys between 12 to 12.5 kilometers per liter, and when you are inside the city and driving with the constant braking and accelerating and all of that mixed cycle, then you will manage around 9.5 to 10 kilometers per liter, which is again pretty decent for a car this big, because mind you, X-Trail is a 7-seater and this one has been 5-seater, but you get loads of space in the back. So for that, this is fairly good, I would say, in terms of the efficiency. Now, in terms of the steering, you get an electronic steering on this Koleos, and it's a little too light to my liking, I'll be honest. And the thing is that it's got a good response when you turn it around and everything. There is good weight to the car itself when it is behaving, but as a feedback, there is not much. That is because it's very light and it tries to hide all the weight of the car through the steering, and just makes you feel like you're driving a very light car. But sometimes I would be okay if there was a bit of a weight, if there is an option to add to it. But otherwise it responds fairly well. It turns directions very easily. It's got good turning radius also, like decent, I would say, for a car this big again. And when you come to the suspensions, they are on a fairly softer side, although the roll is under control. There is slight, I wouldn't say there isn't, but there is just minimum amount of roll, which is pretty normal for these kind of SUVs. But the overall ride quality is pretty gentle. There are just bits and bumps in there. Here it takes sometimes, if there are sudden too many bumps, then it takes a little while to damage them, but otherwise most of the times it works fairly smoothly. And with these seats, oh my god, this is just a very comfortable cruising in this Koleos. Now when you come to the braking, you get 4 disc brakes on this new Koleos, and the performance from that is fairly good. All the 4 brakes work very well. The brake distribution is very nice. Even the pedal setup is very progressive, so even on that front, it's a good experience overall. And when you come to the noise and the vibrations, so there is a bit of wind whooshing, especially right now when the wind is like pretty much there, and we are going around 120, and the wind, it's kind of affecting around these windows. And there is also a slight bit of tire noise, and not just that. So let me slow down slightly, and then once I accelerate, there's a bit of a engine sound also that struggles to accelerate if you just slam the accelerator suddenly, so it takes a little while to respond. But yes, there is that noise also. But otherwise, the build quality, so far it's good. It's just the car has just done a little under 5,000 kilometers, so everything is just rock solid right now, and it's not rattling or anything. Now when you come to the safety systems, you get 6 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, 2 curtain airbags for the passengers in the front and the back given in the frames. There is also child isofix points in both the rear seats. There's also a single camera reversing system. The output from that is alright, a bit grainy to my liking, but it's okay. You still have a reversing camera, but I wish there was 360-degree camera at least on the top variant, because you're sitting in a top spec car, and you would expect that, because that actually helps you a lot when you're in a tighter car park or wherever you are maneuvering a car in a tighter space. It will be really helpful. And apart from that, you have ABS, tire pressure monitoring system. There is also the cruise control, then there is the blind spot warning system, and there are also front and the rear collision warnings and everything. So everything is just given on this Renault Koleos. Now when you come to the four-wheel drive system, so as I said, it's a selectable two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and you can leave it in auto also if you just want the car to decide by itself what to do. But yes, it will do mild sort of off-roading, because the X-Trail also did. If you haven't watched the video, just go back and you can, I'll put the link also out here, where it would do fairly light dunes, and it's a mixed track also with gravel filled and everything, so it will do that. It's gonna cruise in that sort of environment. But yeah, denser, thicker sand patches, I don't know if you should be taking it, for the fact that you have 19-inch rims also that you might scratch. But yes, it's a good thing to have four-wheel drive options, because if you ever get stuck, you can just put it into four-wheel drive and then you can drive. But most of the times it's better to just drive it in two-wheel drive, because it will give you the maximum fuel efficiency also when you are driving on a daily basis. Now when you come to the pricing of this new Koleos, so the base variant, which is the PE, starts from 83,500 dirhams, and then after that you just progress upwards in terms of the pricing. I actually don't have any other pricing after that as to how much the car costs in terms of the top variant, and that is to do with the fact that there are optional extras also. So as you spec it, you can have different price combinations, and then you will have different rates also. So this is one of the top specs with pretty much every optional extra possible: bigger wheels, these headrests, and everything that has been given on this thing. Let me put this headrest extendable one, because I have, so I can use that one too. So in terms of the pricing, yes, it's kind of there in the mix with the competitors, but the Koleos edges in terms of, you know, the French styling. It's quirky, but I like it. It's different, and it's a bit difficult to operate sometimes because the options are split all over the place. But once you get used to it on a daily basis, it becomes like a muscle memory, so that's not going to be a bother. And it's also pretty well spec'd. The only things that I would change would be maybe a better infotainment screen and a bit of good user quality materials here and there, but that's about it. There's nothing else that I would suggest to change, because this combination works very well. There is absolutely so much space inside this car, and there is also the comfort at the same time. And for that, yes, this still comes, and bear in mind, this is also a good looking car. I like the looks. It's subjective, I know, but this is one of the most handsome looking cars in the segment for sure, in the small SUV segment or the mid-size SUV segment. End of the day, it's a Nissan underneath, so there's not much to go wrong. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Drive safe and bonjour.